I want to speak to you today on a truth that brings peace in the chaos, hope in the waiting, and strength in the struggle. God's timing is always perfect. Stay faithful. Let me tell you something. God sees the full picture, and that's something we've got to remind ourselves of every single day, especially when life feels uncertain. Now, I know how it is. We pray, we believe, we work hard, and we wait. And when things don't happen the way we thought they would, when the timing feels off, when the breakthrough feels delayed, that's when doubt starts creeping in. That's when we start asking, God, where are you? Did you forget about me? But let me reassure you, He did. See, we live our lives one moment at a time. We're walking step by step, day by day, seeing just a few feet ahead of us. But God, He sees the whole road. He sees the twists, the turns, the hills, the valleys. He sees the people you haven't met yet, the doors you haven't walked through yet, the lessons you haven't learned yet. He's already in your tomorrow, working things out in ways you couldn't even imagine. That's why trusting His timing isn't just about patience, it's about perspective. When we start to believe that God sees the full picture, we stop trying to control every little detail. We stop trying to force outcomes. We stop panicking when things take longer than we thought, because we know He's got it. And not only does He have it, but He's working it out for our good. Sometimes we think if something doesn't happen now, it's not going to happen at all. That's not how God works. He's not limited by our clocks, our deadlines, or our expectations. He doesn't need our permission to move, and He sure doesn't need to explain Himself to fit our schedule. What He does do is prepare us in the waiting, guide us in the silence, and bless us at the appointed time. I remember a time in my life when I felt stuck. Doors weren't opening, plans were falling apart. I thought I had it figured out. I thought I knew what was next, but nothing was moving. And in that silence, I had two choices: panic or trust. And let me tell you, trusting wasn't easy. It's hard when you can't see the way forward. It's hard when everyone else seems to be moving ahead and you're sitting there wondering why your moment hasn't come yet. But here's what I learned. When God makes you wait, it's not punishment, it's preparation. You don't know what He's saving you from. You don't know what He's lining up for you. That job you wanted so bad might have crushed your spirit. That relationship you prayed for might have pulled you away from your purpose. That opportunity you thought was everything might have closed the door on something greater. But God knows. He sees it all. And because He loves you, He'll hold it back until it's the right time. The problem is, we often confuse impatience with intuition. We think just because we feel ready, that means we are ready. But feelings don't always equal preparation. Sometimes you need more time. Sometimes you need to mature a little more. Sometimes there are people around you that need to be moved into or out of your life before you step into that next season. And if God gave us everything we ask for right when we ask for it, most of us wouldn't be able to handle it. You ever think about that? Some blessings would feel like burdens if they showed up too soon. That's why God waits. He's not slow. He's strategic. He's aligning moments with growth, opportunities with character, promotion with humility. That's what a loving Father does. He gives us what we need when we're ready to carry it and when it's going to bless, not break us. So when you're waiting, don't waste the wait. Don't just sit around frustrated. Grow in it. Dig deep in your faith. Strengthen your character. Let that waiting season be a training season. Because when your moment does come, and it will, you'll step into it with the confidence of someone who knows they're ready. And let me tell you something else. God doesn't show you the full picture on purpose. If He did, you might try to skip the process. You might try to rush to the end without learning the lesson. But He shows you enough to keep moving forward, enough to keep trusting, enough to stay faithful. That's where the beauty is in the journey, in the becoming. So stop comparing your timeline to someone else's. Their story ain't yours. Their chapter isn't your chapter. Focus on what God is doing in your life. Trust His plan, trust His pace, and trust that even if you don't see the whole picture right now, it's unfolding perfectly under His hand. Keep walking, keep trusting, because God's timing is never off. It's just beyond what we can see right now. Stay faithful. Let me tell you something real important. Just because something is delayed doesn't mean it's denied. That's a hard truth to swallow when you're praying, hoping, believing, and nothing's happened. You're looking around and thinking everybody else is getting theirs. What about me? God, did you forget about me? But you gotta understand this. God doesn't deny you just because He delays you. There's a big difference between the two, and recognizing that will change how you handle your season of waiting. See, when we hear silence, we assume the answer is no. But with God, silence often means not yet. It means hold tight, I'm still working. It means there's more I need to do in you and around you before I release what I promised. But we don't like that. We want fast. We want now. We treat God like he's a vending machine. Put in the prayer, press the button, and wait for it to drop. But God's not a machine. He's a master planner, and he loves you too much to give you something you're not ready for. Let's be real, how many times in your life have you wanted something so bad, only to realize later that you weren't even close to being prepared for it? I've had moments where I begged God for something, convinced it was what I needed. But when I finally got it, after some time, after some growing, I realized if I'd gotten it when I first asked, it would have wrecked me. It would have exposed flaws I wasn't mature enough to fix, pushed me into rooms I wasn't confident enough to stand in, or tied me to people I wasn't strong enough to walk away from. Delay is protection. Delay is development. Delay is God's way of saying, I haven't forgotten about you. I'm just getting you ready. And sometimes he's not just preparing you, he's preparing the blessing. There are situations that need to shift, people who need to leave, opportunities that need to open. And if he gave it to you too early, you wouldn't get the fullness of it. You'd get the version that wasn't meant for you yet. So stop seeing delay as punishment. It's not a sign that God's mad at you, or ignoring you, or disappointed in you. Delay is often the greatest act of love. Because God's saying, I want this for you, but I want you to keep it once you get it. Anybody can receive a blessing, but not everybody can maintain one. That takes wisdom. That takes growth. That takes time. And let me tell you, there's peace that comes when you stop fighting God's time. When you stop begging for things to happen your way and start trusting that his way is better, you can breathe again. You can live in the moment without being consumed by the wind. Because once you understand that delay is not denial, you can be still and know that he is God. You can walk in confidence, not in fear. You can hold your head high, not because everything is perfect, but because you know he's in control. But let me be honest, it's still tough, especially when you're watching other people receive what you've been praying for. That'll test you. That'll make you question your own worth, your own faith. But listen closely. Just because someone else is being blessed doesn't mean you've been forgotten. Their blessing doesn't cancel yours. God's not running out of miracles. He's not short on favor. If he did it for them, he can and will do it for you in your time. We all got our own race to run, our own path to walk. So don't look to the left or right. Keep your eyes forward. Your lane is yours. Your timing is yours. Your purpose is yours. You don't need to rush to catch up. You need to trust that where you are right now is part of the preparation for where you're going next. You know, some of the best things that have ever happened in my life came after seasons of waiting that almost broke me, but they didn't break me. They built me. They built my faith. They taught me patience. They taught me how to praise when I didn't have the promise in hand. That's powerful. That's the kind of faith God honors. When you can stay grateful even when the answer hasn't come yet. When you can keep showing up, keep doing good, keep believing, even in the delay. And let me tell you, that kind of faith, that kind of consistency, it moves things. It shifts atmospheres. It opens doors that you couldn't open on your own. God sees that kind of faith and says, now they're ready. Now I can trust them with what's next. So if you're in that place right now, if you're praying and nothing's changing, if you're tired of hearing wait, if you're feeling forgotten, don't quit. Don't stop believing. You are not denied. You are delayed for a purpose. That purpose might not be clear right now, but it will be. One day you'll look back and realize that the delay was divine, that the time you spent in the hallway was preparing you for a door you didn't even know existed. Hold on. Keep your heart right. Keep your attitude right. Don't let the delay make you bitter. Let it make you better. Now listen, this next part right here, it might not feel good, but it's real. Waiting builds character and faith. Yeah, I said it. Waiting. That thing we all try to skip past, fast forward through, complain about, nobody likes. But if you've ever grown into anything meaningful, anything solid, anything lasting, you didn't grow it on the mountaintop. You grew it in the valley. You grew it in the waiting. See, everybody wants the blessing, but not everybody wants to be built for. And I promise you, God is not about to hand you a future you're not strong enough to carry. So what does he do? He puts you through a process. He puts you in situations where you don't have control. He lets you sit in silence. He allows closed doors, delays, setbacks, not because he's cruel, but because he's crafting something in you that you're going to need when you finally get to where he's taking you. You can't fake character. You can't skip over faith. You either build it in the waiting, or you fall apart when it counts. That's why some people get to a place of success and lose it. Not because they weren't talented, but because they weren't ready. The platform was too big for the foundation they never built. And God loves you too much to let that happen. He'll slow the whole thing down just to give you the time to grow your roots deep before he lets you rise up. Now I know some of y'all are thinking, but I've been faithful, I've been patient, I've been doing right. And you're wondering why you're still in the same place. Let me tell you something, you might not be stuck. You might be in training. Don't confuse stillness with stagnation. Just because you're not moving doesn't mean you're not growing. Trees grow the most underground before they ever break through the surface. That's how they stand tall through the storms, because their roots were built in the dark. So if you're in the dark right now, if you're in that quiet hidden season, don't despise it. Embrace it. Learn everything you can, because what you learn in this season will carry you in the next one. That job you don't like, it's building your work ethic. That relationship that ended, it's teaching you your worth. That dream that hasn't come true yet, it's shaping your discipline, your resilience, your dependence on God, not on people, not on timing, not on circumstances. God is more interested in who you're becoming than what you're achieving. He wants to know, can you stay faithful when nobody's watching? Can you keep doing what's right when it's not rewarded? Can you hold your head up when life doesn't go the way you plan? Because that's the kind of person who's ready for the next level. And don't miss this, faith isn't just believing that God can do it. Real faith is trusting him when he doesn't, when the healing hasn't come, when the promotion's been passed over, when the door you prayed for stays shut. That's when you find out what kind of faith you really have. And if you can keep trusting God in the silence, in the waiting, in the not yet, that's where the gold is. That's where the breakthrough begins. Waiting strips you of pride. It humbles you. It teaches you how to lean, not on your own understanding, but on his word. It pulls out the parts of you that aren't built to last: impatience, insecurity, ego, and replaces them with endurance, wisdom, and strength. You stop reacting and start trusting. You stop trying to force and start flowing. That's when you move from surface level faith to the kind that holds up when life gets real. Look, you're not going to feel like growing every day. Some days you'll feel like quitting. Some days the silence will scream louder than any word. But if you can just keep showing up, keep doing what you can with what you have, God honors that. He honors obedience. He honors persistence. He honors the quiet faith that keeps moving forward when it would be easier to give up. I know what it's like to wonder if your time is ever going to come. I know what it feels like to pour your heart into something and see no results. But every moment you stay faithful, every time you say, God, I trust you anyway, you're building something inside you that no storm can destroy. You're not just waiting, you're becoming. You're being refined. You're getting stronger, wiser, deeper. And when your moment finally comes, and it will, you'll look back on this season and realize it was necessary. You'll thank God for the delay. You'll see how the waiting shaped you into someone who could not only receive the blessing, but carry it with grace, with strength, with humility. You'll realize he wasn't just preparing the blessing for you, he was preparing you for the blessing. So don't waste this season. Don't rush. Let it do what it came to do. Let it mold you. Let it stretch you. Let it deepen your faith and strengthen your character. Because what you build now, in the waiting, will be the foundation for everything that comes next. I need you to hear me clearly when I say this. God is never late. He's always on time. Now I know it doesn't always feel that way. We've all been in situations where we've been waiting and waiting and waiting some more, and you're sitting there thinking, come on God, any day now. You feel like your breakthrough is overdue, like the answers to your prayers are just a little too slow in coming. And in those moments, it's easy to start questioning God's timing. But I'm here to tell you, he's not late, not 1 minute, not 1 second. See, we operate on our own time, our watches, our schedules, our expectations. We want things to happen when we want them to happen, according to our own plans. But God doesn't work on our timeline. He's not bound by the clocks that tick in our world. He's got a bigger picture. And when we trust that he's in control, we begin to understand that his timing is always perfect, even if it doesn't look like it from where we're standing. Think about it. God is never surprised. He's never shocked by anything that happens. Nothing that comes into your life is an accident. He knows exactly what you need, exactly when you need it. And the truth is, God's timing is so much better than ours. We might think we have a handle on things. We make our own plans, and we set our own goals, but we don't see the full picture like he does. God sees all the factors at play that we can't possibly see. He knows how your actions today will impact your future, and he knows exactly when you're ready for what he has for you. It's like this. Have you ever had to wait for something you thought you were ready for, only to realize later that you weren't quite ready? Maybe you thought you had the qualifications for a job, or you thought you were ready for a relationship, or you thought the timing was right for a big decision. But when it came down to it, you weren't prepared in the way you thought you were. God knows that. He sees when we're ready, and he knows when we need a little more time to grow, to learn, to become who we need to be for the blessing that's coming our way. I've been there before, and I'm sure you have too. You've prayed, you believed, you've worked hard, and then you waited, and it feels like the answer is never coming. But here's the thing, just because the answer hasn't shown up in the way we expected, doesn't mean it's not coming. God's timing might not fit the mold we've created, but it's always perfect. He's not making mistakes. He's not off track. What he's doing is creating a situation where everything lines up perfectly, and that takes time. When you look back at your life, I bet you'll see it too. There were times when you wanted something so badly, and it didn't come through at that moment, and at the time it was frustrating. But as you look back now, you realize how perfectly God had timed it. You can see how the right things came at just the right time, even though it didn't seem like it at the moment. That's what God does. His timing is like the most intricate piece of art. He's weaving your story together, and sometimes that means waiting for the right moment, the right opportunity, the right door to open. Now I want you to understand something that will help you through the wait. Just because you don't see God working, doesn't mean He's not working. He is always at work in your life even when you don't feel it. The Bible says in Isaiah 55:8-9 that God's ways are not our ways, and His thoughts are not our thoughts. In other words, He's operating on a level that's beyond our understanding. So while you're waiting, trust that He's doing something. He's setting things in motion that you can't even see. He's preparing you, He's preparing others, and He's preparing the situation. I want to challenge you to stop measuring God's timing by your own clock. Stop looking at the calendar and getting frustrated when nothing seems to be happening. God's timing is so much bigger than a date on a page. It's about the right moment, and when that moment comes, you won't have to question it. It will be exactly what you needed, even if it doesn't look like what you expected. One thing I've learned is that when God says wait, He's not trying to punish you. He's not trying to be cruel. He's trying to protect you, prepare you, and position you. There are things He's working out behind the scenes that you don't even know about yet. Maybe He's working in someone else's life to bring them into the right position to bless you. Maybe He's moving things around in the background to create the perfect situation. Maybe there's something about you that needs a little more time to grow, a little more time to mature. God knows exactly what He's doing, even when you can't see it. I've also learned that when we try to rush God's timing, we often mess things up. We push and push, trying to force the door open, trying to make things happen before their time, and we end up frustrated, tired, and sometimes even hurt. But when you let go, when you trust Him enough to say, I'm going to wait on you, God, you'll start to see how perfectly everything falls into place. It's like a puzzle. You might not understand how each piece fits together, but once it's done, it all makes sense. So today I want to encourage you. If you're in a season of waiting, if you're feeling like your breakthrough is taking too long, don't lose heart. God's timing is perfect. He is not slow. He's not forgotten about you. He's just making sure that when it comes in the best way possible, at the best time possible. And when that moment arrives, you won't have to second guess it. It'll be exactly what you need. Let me tell you something powerful that's easy to forget, especially when you're in the thick of the waiting. God's plans for you are far greater than anything you could imagine. That's the truth right there. And it's something that's so important for you to hold on to, especially when you feel like nothing is moving, like the doors are closed and like your dreams are just out of reach. You need to remind yourself of this. God's plans are always bigger, always better, and always beyond what you can see right now. I know, sometimes it's hard to hold on to that when you're in a season of waiting. You start thinking that maybe the dreams you've had for years are just pipe dreams. You wonder if the vision you once had for your life is just too big for you to handle. Or maybe you begin to question if God really wants to give it to you at all. But you have to understand, just because you can't see the outcome right now doesn't mean it's not on the way. In fact, it could very well be that the best is yet to come, and you're in the exact place you need to be for what God has prepared for you. Sometimes we limit God by thinking too small. We think that our dreams are the biggest things we could ever ask for, and if we don't get them, we're disappointed. But listen to me, what you want is nothing compared to what God has in store for you. His plan isn't just to give you the dreams you're chasing, it's to exceed them. It's to put you in places you never imagined, to open doors you didn't even know existed, and to bring people into your life that will elevate you beyond what you thought possible. Think about all the times in Scripture when God did things that were beyond what anyone expected. Take the story of Joseph, for example. He was sold into slavery by his brothers, thrown into prison on false charges, and yet he ended up as the second most powerful man in Egypt. There's no way Joseph could have seen that coming. He couldn't have dreamed up the way God turned his situation around. But God had a plan, a bigger plan, a plan that took him through hard times, through setbacks, through struggles, but it ultimately brought him to a place of influence, purpose, and restoration. That's the same thing God's doing in your life right now. You may not understand why things are happening the way they are, but trust me when I say, He is positioning you. He is preparing you. He's setting you up for something greater than you can even comprehend. And here's the key. You can't rush that. You can't shortcut the process. You can't skip the steps that God is taking you through, because every single step is part of his perfect plan. If you try to push past it, you might miss what he's teaching you in the process. Now that's not always easy to hear because we want to see the results right now. We want to know that our effort, our sacrifice, our waiting will all pay off today. But let me tell you something, the payoff is coming, and it's going to be more than you can handle in the best possible way. It's going to be better than what you had in mind when you first started praying for it. We've all heard that saying, good things come to those who wait. Well, there's a reason it's a saying. It's true. And the reason good things come to those who wait is because while you wait, God is working. He's lining up people, opportunities, and circumstances that you wouldn't even have thought of. The timing might seem off, but let me tell you, God is making it perfect. He's working behind the scenes, shaping the outcome in ways you don't even know about yet. And listen, the waiting isn't just about what's to come, it's about what you're becoming in the process. God is shaping you for what's next. He's refining you, teaching you patience, humility, gratitude, and endurance. He's showing you how to trust him, how to walk by faith and not by sight. Because what good is the dream if you don't have the character to sustain it? What good is the blessing if you don't have the strength to handle it? What good is success if you don't have the wisdom to maintain it? There's a quote I love that says, God doesn't give you what you want, he gives you what you need. And that's the truth. We pray for things that we think will make us happy, but God knows exactly what will make us whole. He knows the lessons we need to learn, the people we need to meet, and the experiences that will shape us into the person we need to become in order to handle the blessing he has for us. The waiting process is where the transformation happens. You are being transformed in ways you can't even see yet. But when the time comes and that door opens, you'll be ready. You'll be prepared. You'll be exactly who God designed you to be, to step into that next level. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. There will be days when you'll feel frustrated, tired, and even like giving up. But the key is to keep your faith strong and to keep your eyes on the bigger picture. Don't get bogged down by the temporary setbacks, the delays, or the detours. Instead, understand that they're all part of the journey. They're all part of what God is using to prepare you for something greater. Here's the most important thing I want you to walk away with today. God's plans for you are so much bigger than you can imagine. The dreams you've had for your life, the goals you've set, the vision you've been holding on to, God has plans that are even greater than that. And right now, as you're waiting, he's working behind the scenes to bring those plans into reality. Your job is to stay faithful, keep believing, keep trusting, because when that door opens, and it will, you'll walk right through it into a future that's beyond anything you could have imagined. Let me tell you something that I've come to realize the hard way. You don't have to understand everything to trust God. You don't have to have all the answers, all the explanations, or even all the pieces of the puzzle. There are going to be times in your life when you simply won't know why things are happening the way they are, why doors are closed, why dreams seem delayed, why the road is so tough. And in those moments, it's easy to want to give up, to question everything, and to wonder if God is really listening. But I'm here to tell you, it's in those moments of uncertainty that faith really begins to shine. Now, I know it's not always easy to stay faithful when you can't see the bigger picture. When the road gets tough, when the days feel long, and the breakthrough feels like it's just out of reach, that's when your faith has to kick. That's when you need to trust that God has a plan, even if you don't understand it. That's when you have to remember that his ways are higher than yours, and his timing is always perfect. It's in the waiting, the uncertainty, the unknown that our faith grows deep. You see, faith is not just believing when everything is going well. Faith is believing when it feels like everything is falling apart. It's trusting when you can't trace the path. It's standing firm even when you don't know where your next step will take you. And that's the kind of faith that pleases God. The kind of faith that says, I trust you even when I can't see it. I trust you even when it doesn't make sense. I trust you even when the situation looks hopeless. But I also need you to hear this. Faith is not passive. Faith is active. It's not just sitting back and waiting for things to magically happen. Faith requires action. Faith requires you to keep moving forward, even when you don't have all the answers. It requires you to keep praying, keep working, keep believing, and keep trusting, even when the circumstances around you seem to say otherwise. When you choose to remain faithful in the face of uncertainty, you're making a statement. You're saying, I may not understand what's happening right now, but I know that God is in control. I know that he's working behind the scenes. And I know that no matter how difficult it gets, he has a plan for my life that is greater than anything I could ask for or imagine. That's the kind of faith that moves mountains. That's the kind of faith that opens doors no man can shut. That's the kind of faith that brings breakthrough. But there's another layer to this. Staying faithful is about learning to trust God, even when things don't look the way you expected them to. You see, God's plan for your life may not look the way you thought it would.